All right, welcome to the intermediate training. This is module number 1, the focus on cabinets. With the agenda for this particular training, we're going to be talking about file cabinets. We're going to go ahead and talk about standard cabinets, the default location for cabinets. We'll talk about the layout, and then we'll drop right into advanced cabinets, protecting cabinets, and cloud drive cabinets. So it's a lot to cover in this particular training, but we're going to go ahead and dive right in. So when it comes to file cabinets, now that we've got the basic concepts down from our basic training, and you've been giving some thoughts on how you should lay out your cabinets, let's go ahead and dive into the mechanics of really getting in and setting up and managing your cabinets. So think of a cabinet as an improvement on Windows Explorer. They show regular Windows directories, just like Explorer does, but they really improve the presentation and enforce a more uniform structure. And it's critical that you understand this particular point. Cabinets are Windows folders, not databases. Okay, so you can display any folder as a cabinet without changing it. In fact, a cabinet is just another way of showing a folder's contents, which really means this really gives you a way to have full access to your files even outside of File Center, and even if you stop using File Center. Okay, so when we talk about the standard cabinets in File Center, that's the primary cabinet structure. All right, is the standard cabinet. So let's go ahead and hop over here real quick on File Center. So we'll go ahead and pop that open. And let's go ahead and create a standard cabinet. So by default, in most cases when you first install, you're going to have a My Documents cabinet. And so we're just going to go ahead and we're going to create a brand new one. So we come up here, we click on the Cabinets button on the main toolbar, and then we're just going to click Add. At this point, this little unique window comes up. So we're going to go ahead and give our cabinet a unique name, and I'm going to go ahead and call that cabinet Accounts Payable. Got to be able to spell that right. All right, so for the cabinet type, you'll see here up along the top that it is already by default a standard cabinet. So that's what we're going to go ahead and select. And then we want to select a location for cabinets, for our cabinet, or we're going to choose the default location. And we're not going to choose the default location this time, just because of the fact that we're going to go over that in just a few minutes on getting that selected. Now, we want to select any other options that we want here as well. We're going to go ahead and keep all the default settings because we're going to dive into each one of those in general. So we're going to go ahead and we'll browse really quickly to go out and find where we want to store this. So in this particular case, I typically like to store all of my cabinets in my Documents folder. Okay, and so then I come up here, I'm going to create a brand new folder. We're going to call it Accounts Payable. And then we just click OK. You'll see that the default location is going to be, or the location of our cabinet is actually going to be selected here. And then we just click OK one more time. Now you'll see in our list, we have the ability to see that particular cabinet that we just created. All right, so now it's your turn. Go ahead and pause the video, and we're gonna have you create your own Accounts Payable file cabinet. If you need to, just rewind the video and watch the part that we just talked about again, so that you can catch again what you're needing to do. All right, so now it's your turn. Let's go ahead and pause the video. All right, so now that you've created your own standard cabinet, let's go a little bit into more details here. I mentioned before that we would go into setting up a default location for your cabinets. I prefer setting up a default location for all of my standard cabinets so I know exactly where each cabinet is and all of its data that's being stored, so that I can go ahead and go back later and have I know exactly where I'm backing up everything. So to set up the default location, here's what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to go ahead and click up on the settings here on the toolbar. We're going to click on Manage Files. And now we're going to see down here, right about in the middle, we're going to see where it says default cabinet root path. So we're going to go ahead and set that. So we're going to go ahead and click on Browse. Now, if you've been using File Center before and you've got the Open Save As dialog box set up, you might have it so it shows a Browse for Folder button, or the window. So if you just click here on the switch to Windows, that will show you your Windows folder structure. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select the place where I want it, which is in my documents. And here you can see that I've actually created a folder called File Center Cabinets, and I've put an exclamation point on front of it just because of the fact that I like it to be up right at the front. So here we can come up, we can select the File Center Cabinets, and that's where I set my default location. Okay, I don't need to drill out any further. These are all the file cabinets that I have typically when I'm doing demonstrations and such. But this is just where I want all of my file cabinets that I create to be located. So we click on OK, and then we just click OK again. And just like that, you now have a default location of where you're going to store things. So now that I've done this, let's go ahead and you can pause the video, and you're going to go ahead and set your default location. So go ahead and click pause on the video and come back once you've completed the task. Alright, welcome back. Now we're on to the layouts. Now it's worth taking a moment to point out a few of these just so that you understand some of the different display styles for file cabinets. So I'm going to go ahead, we'll click up here on the cabinets again, we're going to click on Add. Now I'm not going to go into showing each one and how they look, but you'll want to play around with this after we get done. Some users love to look at all these different things and be able to go through and really customize the way that the program works, and that's why we've done it. And again, it's worth taking a moment just to point out a few of these different display styles for file cabinets. So when we come here under the layout, we're going to be able to see here on the display drawers in a drop-down list. What this option does is it does just exactly what it says. It basically moves all of your drawers into a over here where we see them as a layout here. It moves them into a drop-down list. And so I guess I am going to go ahead and show you this one. This one is worthwhile in showing. So we're going to click on display drawers in a drop-down list. Once we click, I got to go do that on one of my other cabinets here. So we'll come in to this My Documents. We'll click on display drawers in a drop-down list, and we'll click OK. And now you'll see here I've got this this little drop-down, and I can see all of my drawers. So whichever file cabinet that I'm on, or whatever drawer that I'm on, it'll actually show me all the folders here on the left versus the drawer. This is not how I typically like to have this. Sometimes we have some of our clients that do like that, but I personally am a bigger fan of having it over the drawers on the left-hand side. So we'll go back to the cabinet layout there. And then we just click OK, and then you'll see your drawers come back. Okay, and so that's what the drawers in a drop-down list does. Okay, so now you'll see here that I also have the ability to not even use drawers. So you can abandon that whole approach altogether in favor of File Explorer. You know, just how you might look at it in a Windows folder. And to see what, you'll see basically two windows instead of what we're going to be seeing in our system here, where you have three. And so it is just, really just like Windows Explorer with one benefit. You only see the slice of Windows Explorer you care about, which is your cabinet, which gives you basically really fast access to one piece of your folder tree and eliminates all the rest of the clutter. I do really like that, because that's one thing that I don't like about Windows Explorer is I feel like it's way too cluttered, it's way too busy for me. I like things very clean in that approach. Alright, so the next one here is the do not use folders. You can also use drawers, but eliminate the folders window, which is useful for some users who really don't need any extra organizational level of folders. And basically, you'll find that this setting together with all the others that we've just basically covered. And so it's really simple if you wanted to go do that. Again, I'm a big fan of organization. We're going to be diving into how the folders can be really beneficial for you, and so you'll want to go ahead and take a look at that. So why don't you go ahead and pause the video now. We'll go ahead and have you play around with those different layout settings, and then we'll have you come right back as soon as you've finished. Alright, welcome back. Now, up until now, we have only been talking about standard cabinets, and FileCenter actually supports a second type of cabinet, which is known as the advanced cabinet. Now, basically an advanced cabinet is for users who have important folders spread all across their computer, and the advanced cabinet has the ability to gather all these random folders into an unfiled list of drawers. Now, specifically, each drawer is basically an advanced cabinet. In an advanced cabinet has its own location assignment. So where we set up a default location for our cabinets on standard, basically all of the rest of the drawers, they have their own location, so it doesn't even use the default. And so really, the advanced cabinet has the ability to have files and folders all over your whole computer or the network. This is different than the standard cabinet where, again, each drawer must exist under the cabinets directory in Windows. Now, for the most part, the drawers in an advanced cabinet behave just like regular drawers, except that you can't move them between cabinets or demote them to folders. Okay, so let's go ahead and create an advanced cabinet. Okay, so to create the advanced cabinet, we're just going to come up here and click on Cabinets. We'll click on Add, and then we're just going to go ahead and give our file cabinet a unique name. So in this case, I'm just going to call it Advanced Cabinet, just to kind of differentiate it all. And then over here on the type, instead of selecting the standard cabinet, we're just going to drop down to the Advanced Cabinet. Okay. And then we are going to go ahead and still select the location for the cabinet or choose the default location. Now, again, like I said before, the drawers themselves are going to have a lot of different locations. So you can just select your default location like we already chose, and then we'll go ahead and click on OK after we can select any of the other options that we want. I'm going to leave everything by default. So I'll click OK, and now we're all set. So now that we've got an advanced cabinet created, go ahead and pause the video and create your own. Once you've created your own advanced cabinet, come back and we'll learn some more on the real power behind that. Alright, so now that you've got your advanced cabinet created, let's go ahead and dive into the real power of an advanced cabinet. Now, as I mentioned before, with the advanced cabinet, you can actually bring together folders from all over your computer into a single unified cabinet. So here's how we do that. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to click on our advanced cabinet here, and we're just going to come up to the drawers. Okay, and so once we've clicked on drawers here, you're going to go ahead, well, you'll see here, for instance, that you'll have no drawers. It shows a cabinet root. This is just basically showing any of the folders that or files that might be loose inside of the particular folder. We don't have any there. And so for right now, our list is basically completely empty. So we're going to go ahead and click on Manage Drawers. Okay. All right. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead and click on Add. And then you want to give your drawer a unique name. So I'm going to go ahead and call this Lucian, and then I want to go ahead and drawer for that, scan for that drawer location. And so we're going to go ahead and click on Browse. We'll switch to Windows, and then I'm just going to go ahead and look for the folder where it is. So it's under my Documents, and in this case it is inside of my it is under my OneDrive here. It's actually where it is. So let's go ahead and click on Browse again. Now you can see the importance of why you want to have a default location for your drawer, so you're not having to randomly go all over the place trying to find it. So here's my Lucian folder, so I'm going to go ahead and select OK. And now I can just click OK one more time. So now I've got a drawer, it's called Lucian, and I have all the folders and files that have now been brought in. And so basically you're going to continue to repeat that process for all the drawers that you want, and when you're all done, you just click OK. Now, that's where the real power again is that you're able to go in and take folders from all over the place and bring them all into one location, so that you just have that real power. Okay, so now that your cabinet is showing up, or you know now how the drawers are going to be added, I want you to go ahead and click on pause, and go ahead and do this yourself. One thing I'm going to point out beforehand is when you do have the drawer selected, you'll notice down here in the bottom left hand corner that it actually has the location of where that folder is actually residing. So again, if I were to come into accounts pay or my documents, you'll see that here too. So you'll see that this file folder resides in this default location that I have, and all of them really are selected in that one location. So the random portion of the advanced cabinet is that you might have that under one particular folder, but the next one you might have somewhere out on your server. And so it just makes a really powerful solution. So go ahead and pause the video and then create a few of your own advanced drawers, browse for those, and then bring those in, and then come back and join us again. Okay, so now that you've got the basic concepts down for, from our basic training, and you've given some thought on how you're laying out your cabinets, one other thing that you're probably thinking is, how do I protect my file cabinets? Now, really, when we come in and we're looking at File Center itself under our cabinets, so we're going to go ahead and we'll take our our accounts payable cabinet that we just selected. We'll come up here and click on the cabinets, and when we double click on the accounts payable or the edit, our little window will open up for us. Now, protecting your cabinet, down here below the cabinet location, it says prevent cabinet files and folders from being deleted. When we check this box, it just makes it so that really you can't delete anything, and that includes moving, and that's something that's really going to be important, because moving is, give or take, it's about the same as a delete. You just don't want it excuse me, you don't want it to be anything just being moved just randomly, and so in the cases where you want to protect all of those folders and files from being deleted, this is a good box that you can go ahead and check. Okay, so go ahead, pause the video, and go ahead and select to protect your cabinet, and then come back and we'll proceed with the rest of the video. Alright, so now we're on to cloud drive cabinets. This is probably one of my favorite particular topics of the cabinet side of things. Okay, and the reason why is because for me, I really love the fact of being able to store my files locally on my drive, but also on top of that, there's many times where I want to be able to browse and store files in a location that's being stored in a cloud. So cloud drive cabinets, specifically that can be Microsoft OneDrive, that could be Dropbox, it could be Google Docs, it could be, if you're an Amazon Prime member, Amazon Prime gives you a SkyDrive that's available, or a cloud drive. And what the cloud drive does for you is that when you come into your cabinets, and we actually kind of already created one of those at one point of time, but if I were to come in and add a brand new cabinet, okay, so I want to come in, I'm going to name this Lucian Technologies. This is the cabinet that I want. Okay, that's the name. I'm going to keep it as a standard cabinet. I'm going to come up here and click on Browse, because with a cloud drive, typically what you're going to see is just like here above for me, right below where it says desktop, it has a OneDrive, or it could be Dropbox, or again, it could be Google Docs or the Amazon Prime. I'm a big fan of the OneDrive, and so when I come in, I'll see my OneDrive the folder out on my network, and then I've got the Lucian folder. Now, what this does for me is that typically these cloud drives, they store all the files locally on your own computer, but then they also sync the files and store them online. So once I do this, once I select Lucian and click OK, now I'm going to have this brand new file cabinet, and you'll see down here in the bottom left hand corner that it shows under OneDrive is where that is stored. And what this does for me is it's now going to sync everything that I do to OneDrive. And when it comes down to that, that means that not only do I have access to this particular file cabinet on my computer, but I also have access to it through a web browser. I also have access to it on my smartphone or on my tablet, because Microsoft OneDrive has an app that you can download to your phone or your tablet, and then you'll have access to all of your file cabinets all in one place, and they're all stored online, but they also have them stored locally on your own computer. I find that the cloud drive cabinets is something that I use on a regular basis. I have my own cabinets there that I'm storing things, and it syncs it from my home computer to my work computer, and vice versa. And so this is just something that you could look at. If you have any questions on the cloud drive cabinets, you can always reach out to us. We're more than happy to answer any additional questions on the cloud drive cabinets, or get onto our training webinar Q&A sessions, and you can ask those questions there as well. So with that, that wraps up our video on cabinets. Let's go ahead and pause it. You can do your own research, and then we'll just continue on in the next training video. We'll catch you there.